What is up, y'all? I am back with another sit down chit chat. I do want to talk about a few things before I get into today's topic. I do not have a degree. Um, Everything that I discuss is either God inspired or it comes from experience. And so I know some of y'all might be what may be thinking like, what is God inspired? So like when I'm going through my day-to-day life or some issues or whatever, God will put a thought in my head. And how do I know it is God? You may ask. It is because it when I get the thought, that thought brings me peace concerning my situation. And then I can follow up and find scriptures that confirm the thought that has come across my mind. So that's just a little information on, how you know if you are hearing from God or if it's just a random thought. But in today's topic, I do want to talk about the parent child dynamic and how to maneuver with your child or children as you are healing and becoming the best version of yourself. Now, I was going to do this video before I put out our weekend video, but right now it's grind time, so I kind of have to just push out what I can push out in between me working and just doing my day-to-day life activities. So on the topic about this past weekend, I noticed that when my daughter was taking pictures, she would always seem like down or not really happy to take the pictures. And I was really concerned about, just her attitude and her just being, just her whole, I guess you would say, vibe, her whole demeanor these past couple of weeks. And I talk on the phone to my uncle sometimes that lives in California, and I was talking to him about what was going on, and he told me, why don't you just have a conversation with her? And it was like, ding ding ding, me and my daughter, we do have open conversations. We have like little come to Jesus meetings where we always keep the communication open. So I don't know why I didn't think about that, but I'm grateful that my uncle did tell me to go ahead and have that conversation with her. And so to keep me and my daughter's conversation, kind of private, I do want to disclose a few things that me and her had discussed. And what was upsetting her was me picking up the camera every time we are doing different things. And I expressed to her, and she also said that it kind of made her feel like I was doing things for show. And so I had to express to her, the name of the game for this channel is to show people or give people a roadmap on how to deal with trauma and how to be a better parent, and just healing the hurts and stopping the generational curses. I know that bothers people sometimes when you say generational curses, so we can say generational, or we can say passed down traits, or the best way I can describe it, I can't even be fake about it, generational curses. So when you're breaking generational curses, it calls for you to do something different than what was done to you. And so one of my main things is keeping the communication line open for me and my daughter. And so I've heard people, some people, I don't, Okay, let me just say this. When I'm making these videos, it is not to bash people or try to make them feel any particular way about how they are handling their life. However, I do just, my heart is to share a way, or to talk about maybe a different way that would help you maneuver through different situations. And let me just say this last little thing before I get back on topic. I do not have a degree in psychology. However, I was in school for nursing. So I do have some psychology classes under my belt. That does not mean that I'm certified. I am going to go back to school to finish my psychology degree. I do have 66 credits. You need 120 to complete a bachelor's degree in psychology. That is in the works. So no, I'm not certified now, but that is in the making. So back on topic, some people may feel like the best thing to do is to wait for your children to come and express their concerns. And from experience, I would like for you all to consider speaking with your child when you come to the realization that you have made an error. And an example is, I remember one time I had I asked my daughter to do something, and she did what she could, and it was not to my standards. So I made a big deal of it. I did scream at her, and I made her feel a way that it wasn't called for. My reaction was not the best reaction. And so after I did that, I started, thinking about it. And again, God inspired. He kind of just was working or dealing with me concerning how I handled the situation. And so I went back and I told my daughter, hey, the way that I handled that situation earlier, that was not the correct way to handle the situation. We could have talked about it and we could have moved on. And instead of doing that, I kind of blew up on you, and that wasn't the right way to handle that situation, basically. And her response was, Mom, it's okay. And so for our children, a lot of times when they see that you are stressed out, or when they see that you are maneuvering in a way that, or when you're just going through something, your children are sensitive to what you are going through. And so for them, they will sometimes say that, no, that's okay. And us as parents, we don't want to tell them, what I did to her in that instance, I told her, no, that was not right. I did not handle that situation right. However, I am working on it, and I won't be doing that again. And if I do give it again, if I do it again, I need grace, because I need you to know that I'm working on that area. That's the area that I have not perfected, but I am paying attention to that area, and I'm working to be a better person in that area. But what's not good for the children is for us to wait for them to come to us with their concerns, because children, their minds are not mature enough to reasonably rationalize different things that they're going through. And that is our job as parents, is to help them maneuver through their emotions. So let's just say maybe you handled the situation wrong, and they perceived it in a way that you could have corrected and guided that situation, had you just come to them and had a conversation initially, it'll go to their subconscious mind, and so they're making decisions from their subconscious immature thoughts, whereas you could have corrected it and it won't be an issue down the line. And then another topic that I do also want to discuss is us as parents. We do the best that we can do. Each decision that we make, it is the best decision that we make at that time. So you can look back and say that wasn't the best decision you could have made, but at that time when you made that decision, if you could have done better, you would have done better. And I'm saying release you from that burden of saying I didn't do the best that I could, because when you love your children, or when you are maneuvering through life, we all have tools. We all have a hand that we're dealt, and we're doing the best that we can each day. It's just like depression. Like when you have depression, some days don't always look good, but each day is the best that you can do. And that's how come sometimes we have to humble ourselves, because let's talk about being humble right quick, because that humble is a state of being. So the difference between humble and pride: humble, you're in a state of being, meaning this is who I am, I accept who I am, and that's cool. But pride is a state of trying to persuade people that you are, or that you're good, and that when you're humble, it's a different, it's an aura that you have, that I'm confident in who I am, and I don't have to boast about who I am. Pride is a constant state of proving who you are. And so when the Bible talks about being humble, it's just a state of being. It's not, you don't have nothing to prove. And so when you maneuvering through life and you making mistakes, that's why it's important to be humble, because people can give you more. People are more willing to give you grace when you're humble and say, hey, I messed up. You know what I'm saying? I've done this, but I acknowledge my mistakes and I'm moving forward. Pride will force you to look down on people, I would say, or it's something that kind of tries to make you boost yourself up instead of just being who you are. And you get the blessings when you remain humble. Like I've been prideful before, and in the state that I'm in now, I'm humble because I have messed up many a times, but there's nothing that I can do to go and change what I've messed up, except say that I've changed and I'm moving forward. Humbleness. So in the event that you mess up, when you're humble, you can say that I did the best that I could do each day and I'm not perfect. But pride will have you feeling like you gotta prove that I messed up, but watch me get back up. When you humble, you don't have to tell people to watch you to get up, because people already know, because you're humble, you're gonna get back up. That's really how the blessings flow, and it's a state of perfectionism that will bring, or that carries pride. When you feel like you have to be perfect, it calls for pride, and that's raising yourself up. When you just be, humbleness elevates you, pride brings you down. The Bible says pride comes before a fall. So when you lifting yourself up, you're sure to fall. My dad always says what goes up must come down. So when you don't lift yourself up and you allow God in humbleness to lift you, you don't have to worry about falling, because in the event that you do fall, you already know that it's gonna be good. And then as that's a thing that a lot of our parents struggle with is pride. Instead of being humble and saying, baby, I've done the best that I can do, they try to make it seem like they were more than what they actually were. Now, I'm not talking about my parents. We good, you know. Like, I'm not I'm not, you know, shunning my parents. I'm not talking down on my parents, because the Bible does say that honor your mother and your father, and your days will be long, and so that things will go well for you. So if you can look at your life and you saying, why am I constantly going through this? Why am I, you know, constantly going through that? Is because you might want to just check it. Check the honor that you have for your mother and your father, because even if they weren't the best parents, God still calls you to honor them. Honor them is not kissing their butt. Honoring them is saying, you know, that they did the best that they could. I accept what I've been through, and I'm fixing to break some of these generational curses. Hence the black sheep. It's always one in the family that's the black sheep. And the black sheep, I would like to think it's me, because I'm not with a lot of the things that generationally transpired in my bloodline. And then so to wrap this up, or to circle back around to our children, the best thing to do is to keep that line of communication open. That's one thing that you never want to lose with your children, is that safe space for them to communicate with you. And then another thing is love. We don't want to teach our children that love accepts anything. And so when I say that, I'm saying, like, when you're bringing up something to your child and you trying to tell them, hey, I messed up, and they saying, okay, it's okay, that's teaching them to accept anything because you love, or because they love you. No, that's not it. When you love your child and your child loves you, or you love a person and they love you, I don't always agree with you. Just because I don't agree with you don't mean that I don't love you. I can love the socks off somebody, but that don't mean that I agree with you, or what you done or what you doing. So yeah, let's validate these children, and let's allow them to feel safe and loved, and just cared for. And y'all, that is all that I have. I hope this helps. And if my video chit chat, sit down, or whatever you want to call them, inspires you or resonate with you, I want you to know that I love you, I see you, and I am rooting for you. That's all, guys. I get in my feelings, yeah. I start reminiscing, yeah. Next time around, fuck, I want it to be different, yeah. Waiting on a sign, guess it's time for a different prayer. Lord, please save her for me. Do this one favor for me. I had to change my playing ways, got way too complicated for me.